soon as I heard the news, I knew I needed to do a video about this. Because, frankly, I should have done this video about a year ago. But, let's just say, organizationally, my Dallas Cowboys are very good. Before I get into that, happy Tuesday, everyone. Let's see. Oh, if the rather unambiguous intro is any indication, my high is that I learned that the Dallas Cowboys fired Mike McCarthy. Frankly, my low is the fact that we didn't do it sooner. But whatever. And what's my active kindness? Well, I helped my folks with their shopping last night. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, I got some family. Yeah, family time is another part of my high too. I shouldn't just say that Mike McCarthy getting fired was the only good thing that day, because I had family time. That was nice. So, where do I even start with this? Well, I really don't know where to start with this. I really don't. Okay. I mean, I do. For what it's worth, in the beginning, when Jason Garrett got fired and Mike McCarthy was hired, I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but hey, it rhymed. I did have a little bit of optimism. I did. I mean, overall, Jason Garrett I always felt was a better coach than Mike McCarthy, but still. Whenever you get a new coach, you never know what you're going to get. You know what? Getting a new coach is like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get. You know, Forrest Gump reference there. And like a lot of other Dallas Cowboys fans, I was feeling optimistic. I was. I mean, I actually will defend Jason Garrett, but even I'll admit, we weren't getting anywhere. It seemed like for every year we did good, we'd have another year that we did not so good. And, I mean, yes, I know that head coaching has nothing to do, isn't their only problem, and I will be getting that momentarily. But it does come to a point where maybe a new leader among men in charge would be the answer. I mean, here's the thing. What's a good example? The Steelers. You need a coach who's a leader among men, respects the players, but also demands great expectations of them, and also have a winning culture. I mean, Mike Tomlin of the Steelers has been coaching them for, like 20 years, and he's never had a losing season. The day will come when Mike Tomlin finally retires or moves on. But if he does so, it's going to be on his own terms. Just like Bill Cowher before him, and then Chuck Noll before that. Unfortunately, most NFL franchises don't have that luxury. You know, there are fan bases that, while supportive, they want to win. And they want to win now. Sometimes the answer really is simply just throwing, a king's ransom at everything just to get a Super Bowl. That's what the Rams wound up doing. Like, they paid Jalen Ramsey. They went to get Matthew Stafford. They paid Aaron Donald, again, a king's ransom. Like, yeah. You get good players like that, you're going to win a Super Bowl. So why can't the Dallas Cowboys do that? Well, again, coaching is a little bit of the problem. Again, you know, you need a coach that's going to motivate them, inspire them. Like, you're going to march in the battle for that guy, and, you know, come hell or high water, even if you lose, the winner is going to walk away feeling pretty horrible that they had to put up with you for, you know, 4 quarters of football. Actually, there's put my collar in the back. Hold on. With Jason Garrett, yeah, I wouldn't quite say he didn't inspire that sort of innate fear. In fact, I can genuinely say he was a nice guy. I mean, you see him in interviews, see him on Sunday football, he's like a nice guy. I played for Jason Garrett. Hell, one of my all-time favorite Jason Garrett moments was during Dak and Zeke's rookie year, when we had just beaten Minnesota, and basically Jason Garrett did his famous fight speech. You can look it up on YouTube. And, like, fight. That's the word you need. Say what you want about Jason Garrett, but at least he did a better job getting that message across than Mike McCarthy ever did. But again, when Jason Garrett got fired, I was willing to be, you know, open to the idea of getting a new coach. And to Mike McCarthy's credit, there actually was some merit to hiring him. I mean, look at what he did in Green Bay. I mean, granted, a lot of that was due to Aaron Rodgers, which, ironically, he's not doing very good either. But then again, he went to the Jets, so I'm not even remotely surprised by that. And again, Aaron Rodgers is a diva. So, if anything would happen in Green Bay during that time, is both the fault of McCarthy and Rodgers. But Mike McCarthy did get some key wins. However, I'd be remiss as a Cowboys fan if I wasn't the one who didn't bring up the fact that Mike McCarthy is the reason why Dez Bryant didn't catch it. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, it was the 2014 season. 2014-2015 season. And we had went 12-4, and we had just actually Tony Romo won his second playoff game in his career, and the only other playoff game he would win in his career. He had beaten Philadelphia in the wild card round back in 2009, but this was the first home playoff win for Tony Romo. You know, we go to Green Bay and, you know, we're losing, but we actually have a way to fight back. And listen, I've been very critical about Tony Romo. In fact, I've actively said before that due to how he and Jason Witten and the entire receiving corps to Cancun, and why we lost to the wild card game against the Giants, and the Giants won the Super Bowl that year. Like, that should be why Tony Romo doesn't get into the Hall of Fame. But to Tony Romo's credit, it's not his fault why we lost. It really is. Tony Romo actually did really well in that game. Like, this is actually around the time where I started if you can believe it, I actually started warming up to Tony Romo around this time. But what happened in that game, we go to Green Bay. Tony Romo throws to Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant clearly catches it, does a football move, but Mike McCarthy throws the challenge flag. And he did that because now NFL rules specialist Gene Steratore, who's at that point was an official, says, "Hey, you can challenge that." So, needless to say, if I could give the middle finger to Gene Steratore, I would. And to Mike McCarthy, too, because those two are why Des Bryant didn't touch it. I mean, now it's considered a catch, but it was a catch then. Honestly, I should have seen the writing on the wall when we hired McCarthy. And then one of the questions that the interviewers did in that first press conference that McCarthy has, the Cowboys coach, one of the guys says, "So did Dez actually catch it?" And again, I learned about the Gene Steratore thing from Mike McCarthy in that press conference. And he says, "You know what, I'll say this, it was probably the best catch I'd ever seen at that point." Even he thought it was a catch. But he threw the challenge flag anyway. And I swear, whenever we played against Green Bay, he purposely tried to make us lose. It makes sense. We never beat Green Bay during his entire tenure as our coach. I mean, with Jason Garrett, we at least beat Green Bay during Dak and Zeke. That's the last time we beat Green Bay, was Dak and Zeke's rookie year. At Green Bay, no less. And then we lose because of the little Mason Crosby kicks from God nonsense or whatever. And here's the thing. I keep bringing up that, Mike McCarthy, pretty obvious, I never really thought Mike McCarthy was that great of a coach to begin with, even though I was optimistic in the beginning. But if you're an NFL fan in any capacity, then you already know what the problem is with Dallas. It's Jerry Jones. Unfortunately, he's better at hiring yes men than he is hiring anyone who can actually get the job done. I mean, I get it. You're coaching the Dallas Cowboys. It's one of 32 sought after jobs in the NFL. Not anyone can actually do it. Well, supposedly. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just said that wrong. Supposedly. Sorry. I've never said, I can't remember the last time I said that word wrong. I apologize. I deeply apologize. And to Jerry's credit, it's not like we're losing all the time. I mean, yeah, this was a down year for Dallas. But up until then, we had 3 12-5 seasons in a row. So it's not like losing was a prominent word in our vocabulary. The problem isn't winning during the regular season. It's winning in the division. It's winning any playoff games for that matter. I mean, I don't suppose it would actually kill anyone who's coaching the Dallas Cowboys under Jerry's watch to just be a yes man up until the playoffs and say, Jerry, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to win. And we're going to go to the Super Bowl and win this. That's what a great coach would be able to do. Unfortunately, we haven't had a coach like... The closest we've had since Jimmy Johnson was Bill Parcells. And Jerry even found a way to mess that up. I was actually watching one of the pre-game interviews with Troy Aikman and some of the other guys that were... it was the interview with Troy Aikman, Jason Kelce, the 5 guys sitting on the giant long table thing. I'm sorry, I can't picture who the other guys... I don't know the names of the other guys, I'm sorry. when they got to Jason Kelce, and listen, if anyone on that podium or on that table, other than Troy Aikman, was going to be critical, it was going to be Jason Kelce. Especially since he played for the Eagles, he hates Dallas. And this is why, even though I'm a Cowboys fan and I really should hate Jason Kelce, I don't. What Jason said was quite profound. And that's the fact that, like I said earlier, it's not like we're losing. And Jason Kelce even said this himself when he said, during Jason Kelce's career, Dallas actually beat the Eagles more than the Eagles beat the Cowboys. At least that's what Jason Kelce thinks happened. I mean, I'm inclined to believe it. I do know there was at least one year where we swept them. So there's some truth to that. Yet, organizationally, the Eagles have been the better team from an organizational standpoint. I mean, you can't build a house on a good foundation, and you're never going to be able to even touch the Super Bowl without a good organization. And that's the problem. So, I mean, to be perfectly honest, I really wanted to go into this video feeling absolutely elated, saying, yes, we finally got rid of Mike McCarthy. And to some degree, I do feel that way. But, I mean, for starters, no one likes losing a job. And unless they're truly a horrible, horrible human being, you should never wish for anyone to lose a job. Partly because at the end of the day, people got to make a living. But also, again, I can't quite say Mike McCarthy did a bad job because 3 12-5 seasons with Dallas in a row. Not many coaches can actually boast that kind of a record. I mean, this is why I watch people like Tom Grossi or Scooter Magruder or Urinating Tree. Shout out to those guys. Or Set the Edge. Shout out to Set the Edge. Or KTO. Shout out to KTO. Or TPS. Shout out to TPS. Those guys at least would be able to say stuff like this better than I can. They're more experts on this stuff than I could ever hope to be. I'm really just speaking from the perspective of a fan, but a realistic one. If you don't know my history with rooting for Dallas, again, and I said this in my top 11 Super Bowl matchups I want to see. Green Bay was the first team I did root for because green was my favorite color. And then Green Bay lost, and then I really was in a haze for a long time. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say I was a fan of Dallas, but it did feel nice to see them win every now and again. And it felt bad when we lost. I mean, I alluded to Tony Romo taking Jason Witten and the receiving court at Cancun. He did that because, the year of the undefeated Patriots, they were the number 1 seed in the NFC. If there was any team that actually had a chance of beating the Patriots, maybe they could. And again, the Cancun thing happens. That and all the other times that Tony Romo would choke during December. Honestly, in terms of organizational skills, for me, the writing was on the wall in terms of how bad it was for Dallas when all those things happened. The Cancun thing, all the times Tony Romo would choke, the bobble in Seattle as well. And it was my senior year of college when it was the last game of the year for Dallas. We weren't going to the playoffs. We were terrible that year. And it was basically a game against the Eagles. The Eagles weren't going to the playoffs either. Basically, it was just a regular season game that didn't really mean anything. But you at least want to win on a high note to at least build some momentum going into next year. The Eagles are winning, and the Cowboys get the ball back. Tony Romo's first and final play of that drive, first play of that drive, final play of that drive, and final play of that season was an interception. What happens? Jerry Jones gives Tony Romo like a 7-year, $100 million contract or something like that, making Romo the highest paid quarterback of that time. And here I'm thinking, we're never going to get rid of this guy. And we go 8-8 again. But then that's when we went 12-4, and then the Des Carter game happens. So, what would I know? In the end, I'm glad we're done with Mike McCarthy. I really am. I mean, obviously I wish him and his family well. I mean, you still need to find a job at some point. You never want to wish for anyone to get fired. So, again, I don't know whether to say thank you or drop the F-bomb on this guy. I really don't. So, I guess I just wish him well wherever he goes. As for who I think Dallas's next head coach should be, look, man, I have no idea. I mean, I keep seeing that Deion Sanders is interested. I actually like to joke about this with this guy I know who's a Bears fan. But Wink Martindale, the defensive coordinator for Michigan. I mean, listen, Michigan didn't do well this year, but they beat Ohio State, and now Ohio State's one. Like, Ohio State is one win away from being national champions. And Michigan beat them. Thanks to a very fantastic defensive scheme from Wink Martindale. It wouldn't be bad, I guess. Gosh. I mean, I could totally see Jerry Jones try and do a move where whatever coach wins the national championship, Jerry will try and get that coach to coach Dallas. I mean, technically that worked with Jimmy Johnson, so it's not entirely unheard of. Hell, Jim Harbaugh just won the national title with Michigan a year ago. He took the Chargers to the playoffs in his first year, back when pretty much everybody wrote the Chargers out. So, again, a college coach having success in the NFL is rare but not unheard of. I don't know. Whoever does wind up being Dallas's next head coach, what they need to do is simply appeal to Jerry during the regular season. It's when, it's like a rocket launching. Like you have the rocket and then you have those two giant fuel tanks that sort of propel the rocket to the upper levels of the atmosphere to break out of the atmosphere so we're no longer in Earth's gravitational pull. Like, Jerry Jones's influence are those giant fuel tanks. And reaching the uppermost part of the atmosphere is the playoffs. At that point, that's when you gotta drop the tanks. And then have the actual rocket propel you out of Earth's orbit. That's what they have to do. Like, deal with Jerry during the regular season. Obviously, try and win games like any coach would. But the instant you get to the playoffs, you gotta say, Jerry, thank you for giving me the job, but I have a job to do, and that's to win this game and keep winning until we hoist that Lombardi trophy. Until then, honestly, right now, the only team I can see myself rooting for on the happy note is the Bills. Unfortunately, everybody's already writing the Bills out because they're playing the Ravens, but who's to say? I hope you like this video. If you like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on social media. As always, I'm very humble in this video for all of you guys watching. Enjoy for hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. And remember, if any of you guys want to talk to me, always be here to lend you back. Take care and make good choices. 6070 day, baby.